Welcome back, everyone. So in this video, I want to cover the hand occlusion and how the Apple Vision Pro handles your hands when they're in front and behind certain digital objects you might have going on. In front of us here is the 13-inch MacBook Pro. This is the M2 model, and I have it screen mirrored up to the Vision Pro. So I use it like this, where the display is sitting just above. I can put it on the wall, make it bigger, but it becomes a little harder for me to kind of navigate and use as a computer when it's not in front of me. So this is give or take probably just over 27 inches. And there seems to be no latency. I mean, the connection here is very fast. Downside being you can only have the one display. You can't have multiple direct monitors from the one machine as of yet. The Vision Pro is running Vision OS 1.0.3, which as of today, which is February 20th, 2024, this is the most up-to-date version. So in regards to hand tracking and hand occlusion, it does a very good job, first of all, in just comparing it to something like the Meta Quest 3, where you don't have any of the warping. Your hands can be on top, over each other. There's no warping at all that happens around the hands. When I were to put the hand over the machine, you can see what's going on behind it really only when you move faster. And it's trying to keep up with the hand, and it does an amazing job considering what's going on behind the scenes to make this happen. But you see almost, I'd say, a couple millimeter, maybe close to a centimeter lag where it's trying to cover the hands, but it's keeping up very well. And it doesn't really matter how much you cover it, it'll keep your hands between you and an object that's outside of your reach. Back on the TV stand, I have one of the digital clocks from an application, so that's sitting there, it's locked in place. And something like that you can cover up very easily, and then you can peek through your fingers and see it, which is pretty incredible. And over here on one of these menu panes, that's this semi-translucent, if I were to drag this over to the window where there's a bright light behind it, you can see through the menu how you can see this diffusion that's happening from the Windows light into this menu, which really makes it feel like it's in the room with me. And on top of that, down here, you can see the shadow that the window is casting, which is live to the size of the window you're adjusting. So the shadowing and tracking on that is really nice. So if I were to move this window over a busy background, like say this TV, which is also a light, and I let it go, it'll cover the TV to where you can still see something back there, but you can't really make out what it is. And then if I were to do the hands again, you can see how that effect now goes through this menu, and you could see the TV behind it. But overall, it is really impressive. So say if I were to take my hand and put it behind, it's causing this matte from the window to overlay on my hands while my hand is still between this window and the MacBook's display. Very interesting. So if I were to dive into one of the virtual environments, so if I turn the digital crown look up right here, this is one of my favorites here, and I'll bring it just to the point to where I can still see my keyboard. That's the downside of having the virtual environment in full immersion, is it will cover the physical keyboard. So I still have my display, but not my keyboard. So if I turn it all the way, I'm fully immersed now. You hear the ambient sounds of the wind and the environment around me, but I no longer have my keyboard. So that is something that will absolutely need to be updated, at least to have some sort of a physical keyboard present. Otherwise, this MacBook I can't really interact with too much. So if I bring this back just enough to see the keyboard while still keeping the environment behind the Mac live, then you start seeing this occlusion happen here. And this is more dramatic here because it's having to calculate a lot more colors in between me and the TV. And you can kind of make out the TV behind. But again, hands in front, behind, it's constantly tracking. It's tracking my arms out, which is really impressive considering it's doing all this live. There's the light coming through this window up here. Very, very nice. So I can move the window all the way back. And again, same thing. So I think the idea is, for the most part, you're not looking directly at your hands when interacting with objects. So if I were looking at the menu, if I were looking at the time, at whatever game, the landscape, whatever I'm doing, with my hands being in my peripherals, it gives me the presence that I'm still in this other space without noticing this slight distortion happening. But very well done. It's impressive. This is still version 1.0.3, so we're really in the beginnings of what's to come with this system, and I'm looking forward to it. Just to show you, I can potentially, if I wanted to, take this display, look at the bottom here, you have that line, grab it and move it up here to where it's covering the actual TV on the wall. And then this keeps its same very, very low latency when interacting, regardless of the size of the monitor. So that's probably close to a 75 or so inch monitor for the Mac. Very impressive, very, very impressive. One final thing, so if I move this back down, let me grab that, move this down here, place it. If I open up the home screen by tapping the digital crown on the top, pushing down on it, you'll open up your main home screen. And here, same type of occlusion. It just works better here because there's so much empty space between the icons. So these icons actually feel like they're floating in the air. The positional locking is impressive. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to cover a lot more videos, including increasing the comfort level on the Vision. I have kind of a third-party rig I'm piecing together here. I should be ready in about a week or so. And just other things that this Apple Vision Pro is capable of doing, and as it evolves through software. So thank you all very much.